Hello everybody and welcome back to Wappelville. We're going to try another Thursday night session here, and I want to finish off something that we did maybe 3 weeks ago. I think this was at the start of October here, and this is from Artisan Guild. It's a 3D print, and we painted this base. If you remember, we were using the Green Stuff World liquid pigment, some of the dust, and not the dust, but the dust and the earth pigment. That's right. And this is just our tree branches, tree bark, lovely stuff here. But now we want to get some, well, it's going to be sort of not alive vegetation, or mostly just kind of dead-ish vegetation. Now we glued her in place, everything is good to go. But what we haven't done in a while is we haven't played with our leaf cutters. So we're going to be showing you that. I'm going to wait till some folks get into the room here before we get to these. There are tons of these. They are from Green Stuff World. We've got some your prototypical grass tufts here. These are from Warlord. These are from Gamer's Grass. And this is from Green Stuff World right here. I think you can sense a theme about the brownish. Now these are our Intrepid Moderator made these lovely leaves because around here, literally what you're seeing here, that's my entire harvest of leaves before they get destroyed by the wind and the rain and everything else. So this is basically it here. And this is just what I could scrounge before they were all wiped out. So yes, our wonderful moderator he's kind enough to create all of these leaves. And there he is right there. I was just telling people how this is basically my entire harvest right here. This is all I've been able to get. And everything that is left is now destroyed. Hey, Crafty Fox, how are you doing? So we're going to be basing here, at least at the start. I don't know if were you around? It was earlier this month we painted up this Artisan Guild print here with all of the wonderful tattoos and everything else. I hope that you are doing well. Now, at first I was going to do this more of a jungle type theme. Hey, Orchrist Gaming. Well, for our Intrepid Moderator, he really does the whole. These are just pressed in a book. He actually does the glycerin treatment, and actually he can go into all the stuff. But leaves, well, as you can imagine, leaves are always in short supply here because we just lose all our darn leaves. We just lose them all. Now, what I was hoping to do, I'm pretty sure this is either from Army Painter or it's from maybe Woodland Scenics, probably Army Painter actually. We used to use this stuff all the time. It's a little bit on the tricky side to use because you never quite know what you're going to get. So it's a little bit of viney stuff here, maybe to glue on some leaves. So Orchrist, I hope the things are going okay. Now I was showing this earlier. This is from Green Stuff World right here. We're going to try and you sense a theme. This kind of, well, fall foliage, dead foliage. Hey, I mean, it is Sporktober after all. We've got a couple of different size, tufts. Basically, this is what we might even mount some of those tower tufts in. Now, I was hoping to get some of these viney things actually on the trees to make them look like they're almost overgrown. But I want to have some of my leaves so that you can see how these guys operate. And these, again, are from Green Stuff World, and there are many different types here. I think this tends to be my favorite right here. This one. Let's see, doing some renovation work out of town, making that dough. Well, that's what we've actually been trying to do this month. We've been trying to coordinate as many commission miniatures, I suppose, with this. Now, if we can get through the basing quickly, I do have a couple of these. I don't know if these are Merman Banshees. I just know they're Banshees. And there was some brocade, well, more like some medieval design cloth that I would like to do for these instead of just kind of the spirit thing, because we've done those before. Oh, Crafty Fox. What you can do is, well, you can see reading, or you can have me do readings from the Book of Wappel. The other thing is, if you notice, there's things like the Mimes of Moria and What Lurks in Lustria. That's basically me going into some story time about the armies that I had in the past. And it's sort of a journey. You get to see what was done in the past, in some cases 7, 8 years ago, maybe longer, actually, sometimes longer, definitely longer than 7, 8 years ago. And then you get to kind of see how that compares to today. But I try not to just always go, oh, well, here, look at my Goblin Blood Bowl team. It's almost more fun when someone else brings that up. Oh, hey, Nathan. I know you use Spark quite a bit. Would you have a link or recommendation to the type of Spark you used? Nathan, actually, wait. Where is that? I think I might have somewhere around here, if I could find these things. It's some regular, oh god, it's like mulch. Um, you can find it in, oh gosh, I don't know. I reorganize things, and I already reorganized those things out of existence, apparently. Oh, I think I know where they are. I just can't get to them. I know where they are. I can't get to them. But try this. It's kind of like mulch, but it looks very much like, where'd my bark go? It looks very much like this. Now, I do have a few, aha. Essentially, it's kind of like your tree bark here, except now it's been processed a little bit. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a hint. Hey, Bethany, how you doing? Well, I think, will you be safe here? There's certainly no object source lighting here, but of course I just misplaced the two figures that I had. Oh, here they are. These are actually not going to be glowy here. What I wanted to do was do a nice kind of medieval pattern on these things. I mean, it's a big old cloak. It's one thing to do the glowy stuff on, something like this here. Whatever. But on these guys, well, these ladies here, I definitely wanted to do some kind of fabric, some kind of special treatment on that instead of just a bunch of glowy stuff. You'll be really glad to hear that, I'm sure. You'll be relieved to hear that. Now, what I want to do, there's something else here too. There are some, now, of course, these are in our favorite hummus containers right here. So some of our Luke's APS ground cover. Look at this fabulous stuff right here. This is very appropriate for some fall foliage. Now let's check out. There we go. So is this the Mediterranean? Oh, this is Wasteland Soil Base Ready. Now there's several of these. This is from Luke's APS. And actually the arid base, which has no static grass or anything like that, dusty. That's something I actually use for just making the bases. But Avocado Kids does the cheers. Sorry, Avocado Kids, I missed you earlier. Now, folks, be sure to follow Avocado Kids because, well, terrain. So you want even more big bases, you want terrain, you've got to follow Avocado Kids. Yeah, actually, did you go live twice? I swear I got 2 notifications, either today or late last night. Yeah, it's last night we got, instead of a 1/4 inch of rain, we got 3 inches of rain. So I was bailing water out of the basement last night, but I still got the alerts for you going. That's why I wasn't I would have been in your chat otherwise, but yeah, that kind of prevented that. I don't know if you can see it. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but there's actually static grass in here, and there's little tiny tufts of kind of foam foliage here. But this is wasteland. There's Mediterranean that's a little bit more green. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the alert from Drax. I know Drax is live right now. Now, my hope is to take this and just get some of this stretched out over the tree here. Sort of like the tree has kind of been taken over by vines, almost like orcs have kind of ruined the forest there, a little bit of Fangorn forest or something like that. Now, there could be a lot of Ray Rayner moments here as I just glue myself to the trees and everything else, so you could be wildly entertained by that. Of course, you could also be wildly entertained by me losing something that I need here. So I'm just going to chuck these leaves in here. So again, believe it or not, this is all pretty much the same tree. All of these leaves, except for, well, most people recognize these. Only one house on a corner here. They have about 5 of these red maple trees. This is the only freaking leaf I was able to get out of there before they were all gone. And there you go. Footsore North America is where you can get all the Luke's APS stuff. Obviously in Europe, well, you can kind of get it direct from Luke's. Now, I do suggest that when you press the leaves, do this sooner rather than later. I sometimes have to wait because I don't have very many leaves, and I want to show people the actual process of doing this so you can see here. Let's get this as underneath this as we can. The nice thing about using actual leaves is that, as you can see, there's these veins and all the cellular whatever, the cell wall structures there. Well, you can actually see that in the leaves. And this particular tree is spectacular because it has great colors. It tends to press very well. Now, some of these went out of the container, but I try to get as big a container as possible. You can see all those wonderful little leaves right in there. You can see just how easy it is. Now, this is the oak leaf. White oak, I believe. I don't think they have a red oak. Actually, I remember, did they have a red oak? I think they only have the white oak. I'm not even sure they know there's difference between oaks. It's possible. All right, now then there's this one over here. And also, too, the crispier the leaf gets, the more difficult. Well, you'll be able to get some leaves, but they'll end up being more broken here. And like I said, there's some of these that kind of didn't end up inside the thing. So what do? We could just, I don't know, I could maybe take a little bit of water here and pick some of these guys up. That actually seems to be working, believe it or not. You know what? I think I just discovered something. I think this is how I might try to glue these leaves onto the tree. Well, as much as I like my... do we try the Luke's APS glue? I don't know. But I think the leaves might be one of the last things we try and attach here. I'm just trying to salvage as many of these leaves as we can. Good enough. Now, of course, we will be using some of these spectacular leaves that, again, our moderator created these, did the glycerin thing to really preserve them. Hey, Sipstorm, how you doing? Oh, let's see, you and Kathy, you've got the, is that going to be this Sunday? Do you think that'll be the last stream, or do you think maybe there'll still be one more multi-stream to get that Gundam guy completely put together? Because I know she's really been having a lot of fun with that. Oh, hey, Baron, how are you doing? Well, I'm glad there are some folks in here. This is kind of an unusual time for me to start. I know the Thursday things tend to be later. This is obviously much later right here. Wow, that was a little tough to cut right there because I was right there on that center spine. And I decided to do, again, a little bit of a change here. Instead of doing the... Okay, let's try another smaller set of leaves here. I was going to do just green foliage here, and I thought, you know what? It is fall. Anyway, let's try and do some fall stuff here. So definitely some much smaller leaves here. So still one more. Okay, that's good, because I think it's kind of fun for it. We've got Welsh Gamer Guy in here too. So how are you doing? Yeah, we're having some fun here with... I always love using the Green Stuff World leaf cutters. Now what I'm going to do also is I'm going to throw in, again, some of our fabulous leaves right here. Just going to get a bunch of them out here, all different colors. Here's some more. Pour you got, not all of them, just a decent portion of them here. It's a nice little collection there. Thank you so much. Valhalla Ironworks. Oh, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate that. This is kind of an unusual point to for some. Oh, look at some of the leaves have actually just fallen. Look at this. The leaves are falling by themselves naturally onto our little diorama base here. So thank you so much for the raid. I guess I have to scroll here 1 second. There we go. Oh yeah, I actually love those. Oh hey Nico, how are you doing? So this is a figure that we painted earlier this month because it is, well, it's actually Sporktober because it's spooky and it's orky and all these kind of things. So we painted this a few weeks ago, kind of at the start there. And definitely, yes, as our moderators say, be sure to follow Valhalla Ironworks. That is a fantastic screen name there. And actually, our moderator is also doing some metal work right now, so how convenient is that? Ah, look at this, and we have ourselves a double, whatchamacallit, double bot. Look at that's quite the activity here. We're going to try a couple of different things. We're going to try some of this viney stuff here. We're going to put that around our tree so that we can attach some of these leaves to it. We are going to be using this basing material right here. This is from Green Stuff World. We've got a variety of tufts here. Some of these are from Warlord, some from Gamer's Grass. We've got some Luke's APS products that we're going to be using. We've got this, some ground cover, several ground covers. But what I was about to do is actually just dump this, some of this, the contents of this bag into here. And Browntown Games also in the house. How are you doing? All right, there we go. We had a nice little collection here. So for the folks that have just come in, Green Stuff World, absolutely love these. Outside of the texture rollers, have to be my favorite product. Now we got a leaf here that I just pressed in a book. Very simple. And all we're going to do is cut this, and you can see I get a little resistance here because I'm actually cutting through that main spine of the leaf. And unfortunately here in Chicago, between the rain and the wind and everything else, all of our entire stock of leaves is just kind of all wiped out. There is no more harvesting. Harvest is dead. But we're going to see what we can do with these guys right now. Oh, yeah, I have to say this one's kind of my favorite, although I'm starting to see the utility of some of the smaller ones now, because on some of these smaller miniatures, say like the Lord of the Rings ones, that might be a good size to have. Now I'm just going to set some of these things off to the side here. Now the base is made of tree bark. All it is, I do a whole bunch, and these are just twigs that I picked up off the ground. That is the entirety of this. Now you can actually watch this base being made. I think it's one of my Patreon videos. This is part of my basing series. But you can watch the base being painted and I think eventually she's going to be a YouTube video as well. So you can look for that on the YouTube channel. Is this Cosmic Cubicle? It must be Cosmic Cubicle. So we'll get them caught up too on what is going on. So hello, welcome in Raiders. How are you guys doing? This is kind of not only is it playing into Orktober, and folks, be sure to give Cosmic Cubicle the follow because follows are free. That's a banana raid. Oh, bananas. I should have got bananas at this. Well, I didn't go to the store today. I'll have to get some tomorrow. They got potassium. Potassium gives you muscles like that. Well, maybe not. Maybe you got to work out a little bit. But you can see the video where this was painted, the base, and this Artisan Guild miniature. It's printed at 72 millimeter scale. We did the tattoos. This was all painted in oils. We'll be painting later on, but I just wanted to show you guys. It's been a while since I actually showed you the leaf cutters and such on a stream here. So Cosmic Cubicle, I hope everything is going well and you had a good stream. At least hopefully a productive stream. I mean, that sometimes there's just more hilarity, and sometimes there's just more working being done. I'm just gonna. That's an interesting little thing right there. Wasn't expecting to see that in my leaves. But what I like to do is actually be able to tear some of this stuff off here. And this is from Army Painter. And the idea is to get this sort of wrapped around the tree right here. And it would be something that I could actually maybe glue some leaves on. Now is a good night for killbots. Which, since I'm hungry, and I don't even think I've ever eaten it, but that all of a sudden made me hungry for kielbasa. Like I said, I don't think I've ever eaten it, but now all of a sudden I'm hungry for kielbasa. I don't even know what it is. I know it's food, and I guess apparently right now food just makes me hungry. Aha. I'm just going to try and stick that there with again without sticking it to me too much. Okay. Let's see if I can be cheeky here and use some kind of little metal tool here. Get that to stick right in there. Come on, not to me, to the tree. That's better. All right, so it's kind of wrapping around the tree a little bit, and we'll try and do that to the other one too, maybe. Boy, we got a whole bunch of leaves sitting over here too. All right, we got this chunk here. And we'll try and wrap it around this one as well. Okay. Which way we want to go with it? I think we'll go this way here. See if I can... it's hard to stretch this stuff out. You'd think it would be easier. Do I have... I have my scissors right here. So 1 second. There. Okay. And like I said, there's going to be some moments where all this wants to do is just stick to me and not the area where I want it to go. Okay, that's starting to look somewhat viney now. Don't mind me while I just kind of press my finger there. Okay, one more, or maybe a couple more batches of vines. What do we got here? What's this look like? That's looking a little peaked right there. I want a longer string of it. Well, that's a longer string. No, that's a little bit too much of a ball right there. I'm going to use, no, I'm not going to use the, as fast drying as that fast drying glue is, it's not quite fast drying enough. Oh, by the way, this cheap, nasty super glue right here is actually kind of handy for doing this because just like the oils, it actually has, well, capillary action. Aha. So see what that's, see, I think, yeah, you can see that. That's showing up on camera there. So sometimes you just have to, oh, shall we say, endure some clumsier moments with this stuff. Ugh. If you look at some of my old blog posts on dioramas, you will see, oh my gosh, it gets pretty crazy. Me trying to glue all this, well, they're not videos, thank goodness, because, well, there would be a lot of non-YouTube friendly language, to say the least. So here's a case where I'm just going to be, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. There. See that capillary action right there? And now I've got me a vine that's starting to walk all the way up this tree. Yeah, like I said, it's been a weird It's been a very weird 24 hours. I think I got 2.5 hours of sleep today. Maybe. Maybe not. All right, so I think that's almost what we're looking for here. Let's do some tufts. Before we get into the leaves, let's do some kind of tufts here. And now we're going to have to rip some of these out too. Now this is tall foliage from Green Stuff World. I really like this because it gives me some different heights. It certainly gives me more height than just these guys. And we'll kind of put those out as a bit of a comparison and show you. Yeah, a little difference in height there. But I think color-wise, they're going to go together fairly well. Now, where would we like some of these to go? For sure, I want some right maybe in there, because there's not a lot of action going on there. And I like to have these in different sizes here. So we're going to rip up some different tufts. They also don't want them all the same height either. So I'm going to try and separate this a little bit. And I'm looking down in here. This alone just stuck. I could drill a hole in there, but that's really not going to quite cover it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. And I'm going to take one of these guys here. And I'm going to fill in that space here with that tuft. And basically this tuft is going to hold up my larger, taller tuft. Sounds crazy, but that's what it's going to do. Now I think here I might get some of my Luke's APS stuff in here first. Oh, and I did, this was really fun. I went back over this again, because this is what the base was painted with. And you can go back and still watch this highlight. So it's painted with these different dust and earth pigments. And I painted this over, and man, it really did a nice job in kind of coalescing those. So this is printed, 3D printed rock. That's our tree bark. Hey, Stila, how are you doing? Well before midnight my time. Hey, Cronius, how are you doing? Typically, well, I don't know what the schedule is going to be for tomorrow and Saturday. There was let's just say that there's been just like a month's worth of rain in a couple of hours. So I don't know what the next couple of days will bring. I just thought, well, I better do this while I can. So that was kind of my goal here. All right, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to just throw a little bit of that. So we're doing some viney stuff because we want to get some of our leafy action here. We haven't done that in quite a while. Now I have to decide before I put these guys in, where's my bigger tuft here? If I put this stuff in there, can I still get to that? I don't even know if I have to get to that. Do I like that there? Does it create a nice background for the figure? I think it does. More interesting than just a tree back there. All right, so where is my scissors? I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. And again, these tufts here, these tall foliage this is from Green Stuff World. I put a smaller tuft in here to basically give me a place to anchor this, to stick some glue in there. And then shove this tuft in there. Like so. So now we're starting to get some color in there, some texture. So Stila, I hope all is well. Oh, it's the stupid thing that's been going on here seemingly every October and every May and every June, where last year was a record for this month, then we shattered it the very next month or the next year, that same unfortunate record. All right, this right here, is that just too much the same height? I think it's too much the same height. I'm going to cut this down, make it a bit shorter here. And guess what? That yellow, see how it's going to make that blade stand out a little more, her obsidian blade. And you know what? The heck with it. I'm just going to use a piece of this here. I'm just cheating, using a tuft to support another tuft. Let's see.
Hello, little hobbit. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much. Let's see. I have to get caught up on my thing here. There we go. Shallow pool. For whatever reason, all my alerts were pushed into a different area. Not quite sure why. Thank you so much for that follow. This, I really do love this. Well, I just like all of the artisan guilds. I'm hoping, well, of course, the goings-on of the last little while kind of delays what I was trying to do to set up a new area for printing. But, there we go. So see, it's a little different height now. Slightly different height there. This starts to look a little bit more interesting now. Yeah. Now we'll just throw in a couple of more of these smaller tufts here in a few places. Oh, where could one go? Maybe here. I always try to have one of these pokey tools. I'll catch you later, Nico, and you can always watch their. Well, there's the VODs, obviously, but since those only last so long, I turn them into highlights. So you can always go back and watch the highlights, and they are the full episode. And obviously, the YouTube channel where I also take some of these and put some pictures with them and some text and some other things. There we go. Nice little tuft right there. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to go crazy with these tufts here, but I sort of like having them at the base of these trees, since I can't really have the exposed roots. I mean, we're just literally taking tree branches and drilling them and sticking them in there. So, no, I'm not going to put one there. No, actually, maybe not. Maybe no more tufts. Maybe no more with the tufts. Not even sure if I want to use another one of these. I was tempted to maybe stick one like over here. Well, we have some of this right over here. How would that look down? You know what? Actually, I like the look of that. I sort of like the look of that over there. Is that gonna, yeah, that's gonna cover up the blade there. So I think I want it over here instead. Which means I'm just gonna cheat again. I'm gonna make this easier on me, and I'm just gonna stick a tuft in there, and then stick this tall shrub into that smaller tuft. Let's set you in here. Now, what I have thought about experimenting with is actually just trying to glue these in advance. You know, stick a little, maybe bundle these up with a twist tie or something, and then glue them so that they're kind of a solid mass like this. That's something I got to experiment with at some point here. So we got our glue in there. Now in goes this tuft. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get it to go where you want it to. Alright, so now you look at it from the top. That's better. Instead of just, oh, magically there's two of these. There's 3 trees. Why not have 3 of these? Hey, Jera, how are you doing? No, Jera, I think the only reason I knew is because, well, my wife watches from her phone all the time. Actually, I watch more from my computer than she does. She tends to watch from her phone all the time. So you are not alone, actually. All right, let's just make sure that's not going to go anywhere. So before we do our leafy stuff, we want to do some of our, let me just get some of these tufts put away and get this stuff out of harm's way real quick. So again, a lot of green stuff, world stuff, lots of leaves. We are going to take our fast drying glue here. Let's get our super glue closed up. And again, the cheap, nasty super glue tends to be the best stuff when you're doing this kind of work. It's the darndest thing. It really is. Okay, we don't want you out here. I'm just looking for, here's a brush that I can use for glue. I hope everything is going well, Jera. Oh yeah, it really is. Now, of course, it can be a little wacky sometimes using the phone as far as trying to do the chat stuff and everything else. All right, I'm just looking for some of my water here. I'm just going to have to use my water from here. It's amazing how much you can water down this Luke's APS glue and the darn stuff sticks like crazy. So I don't know if you had a chance to see the leaf cutter action or not.
Little hobbits, spark my gun, John.
Thank you so much, Joe Lord Kane. How are you doing? And we welcome in Joe's Life. How are you doing? Oh, thanks, Joe's Life. Yeah, we're actually, this is going to be the next Instagram post right here. That's why I was trying to get this thing landscaped, I guess I should really say, because I was hoping to take some pictures of this either, well, probably tomorrow, well, later today, I suppose, and put this baby up on Instagram. I think, oh yeah, that's right. You've seen the most recent thing then. Our big Witch King on the Nazgul, which, oh, I had so much fun with that. Absolutely loved that. All right, so that's pretty well thinned down. Now let's. Oh, wait. I almost forgot. From Gamer's Grass, we have these guys here. We want these. Yes, I knew there was something missing. I thought there was something missing here. That's what's going to go over here. Where's my highly technical term pokey thing? Boy, those really do want to stick. I mean, not a bad thing, but all of a sudden now, we don't have much of a seam right there, do we? Let me see. Trying to get inspired for your next D&D miniature. I know someone was telling me about the, oh gosh, it's Malifaux, the Banjoists or something like that, because a character that I'm supposed to guest play in a RPG thing on Twitch, and sometime in November, his name is Randall E. Snodgrass, the Bluegrass Bard, and I needed something with a banjo or, well, actually a washboard. And apparently some of those guys do actually have washboards. Look at that nice little carpet of kind of mossy grass right there. That's very nice. Let's see, apparently got brought in as part of a raid. Oh, thank you so much, Lord Kane. I do appreciate that, and this is something that we painted, probably 3 weeks ago, maybe right at the start of October. Well, October. Actually, this might have been the first thing we painted. And I painted the whole base. You can watch all of that stuff. Now, is there anywhere else that I want to throw one of these guys? I think so. I'll throw one of these over here somewhere. Look at that. See, what I like about this really short stuff is that it really falls over the edge here. So on uneven surface, it does a little bit better than some of the other tufts that don't really do that. So that is very fun. Okay, now I can put that away. And now we come back to this, and then let's find one of our, so the Not Hummus Forest ground cover from Luke's APS. And as you can see, it's got lots of fun things in it. Now this is actually, this portion is basically sawdust right here. These are, I do believe, actual like little chunks of dirt right here, as you can see by my fingers. And we're going to throw some of this down, as well as, that's dangerous putting that over there. I wanted to try some of this wastelands. Again, not hummus. Let's see, your minis with lighting coming from the base. Oh, yeah, Joe's Life. Well, I just love the object source lighting. There's something about it. There's just something about this, right? It just sets a theme. Actually, and painting whole armies in it is, well, it's kind of a dream, because let me see if I can get to my sisters here real quick. Oops, 1 second. There. It actually makes the army take less time to paint, because the object source lighting is such a continuous theme through each one of the figures. And it can be different colors too. It can definitely be different colors. Now I just want to make sure I've got the right scene here. I think I do. All right, where did my brush go? That's over here. So let's try a couple of things here. This is also another reason why I don't really fret about painting the bases, because, well, with all of this material from Luke's APS here, you almost don't need to do that. And I don't want to cover up all of the rocks, but it does help to kind of fill in these sort of areas here. Now I think first I'm just going to try some of this. Whoops, let's move this over the top here. I want to try some of this, and that's kind of light actually. I'm going to go to my darker stuff here. Kind of like the darker stuff a little bit better. And it makes it really look like just dirt and whatever. And we'll put our leaves on top of this as well. You just can't go wrong with that. Now, I tend not to put as much of that up here. I tend to go more with the dirt stuff on the ground there. Let me see. Just scratching the surface. It really does. Let's see. Fire Elemental I want to use as the OSL. I mean, I can't overemphasize how much I love doing the object source lighting. And the more different colors or whatever, the better. I really enjoy it. Now here, there's just nothing there at all. So this is going to just go right down in there and fill in lots of gaps. Oh, guess what? It's also going to strengthen that. So all of a sudden now it doesn't look like an exposed plaque. Like right here, there's just wooden plaque down there. Well, we can solve that problem pretty easy. And one of the reasons I watered down the Luke's APS, this is something I found watching one of his videos. Now, I think he sometimes takes, gosh, what is it? Well, he takes rubbing alcohol, whatever, the 70%, but, well, that's kind of in short supply these days, so we won't be using that. But what we are going to do is take our watered down glue, give a nice, see that? Look at it, it just kind of walks right up here. Let me see. Oh, Zara, they're exactly the same, just easier. Go onto the YouTube channel and, well, let's see, you can find, so, I mean, this one was in oils. This one was in acrylics, and they're both on the YouTube channel. So you can compare them directly. There's, let's see, this one was done in acrylic. This is on the YouTube channel. And this one was done in oils, and this one's on the YouTube channel. The oils just make it way easier to do the object source lighting. The key is everything basically starts with the object source lighting. That is your starting point. almost your that is almost your starting point, not your finishing point, because that's typically what people do is they sort of slap the object source lighting on there like it's I don't know, like it's wrapping paper or something like that, when actually it should be the box. Ooh, I like that metaphor. I don't know why. I'm going to drop some more of my ground cover in here before we get some of our leaves onto that. Ah, look at that. Look at that. That's genuine dirt there, I think. Oh, let me see. Do you put anything else over the things you sprinkle onto the glue? It really is not. This stuff is pretty darn amazing. Now, you might even see me using this too. I really enjoy this stuff. This is great. It kind of does the same thing. It's even thinner. You might be seeing me use this on the trees, actually, or the leaves on the trees, I should say. So I think you'll be seeing that too up here on our viney things. We'll continue with adding in some of our glue here, and I really like the way that just sinks down in all those crevices. That's some pretty neat capillary action for glue, I gotta say. I just didn't think, I thought it would lose all of its ability to hold things, but it really doesn't, which is cool. All right, here we go. And I've been doing bases like this for years and years and years. Let's see. Speaking of 8 years ago, where's the one that here we go. Yeah, this is one that we did at least 8 years ago, if not maybe longer. And it's tree bark. It's doing just as fine today. It's a little dusty because it's not in its case anymore, but here we go. We got this end to do. I don't know. I was tempted to add some more vines over here onto this thing. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just let that go. Oh, is Felonious in that? Sorry, Felonious. I didn't mean to miss you there. I hope all is well. Let's see. Have you ever messed around with places like Forge? No, actually, now I do have. Actually, I have both types of printers. I have the FDM and I have the Elegoo Mars. I've tried to, well, I have printed some of these. Actually, the biggest successful print that I have managed to make for myself. 1 second here. I need to find a place to put this guy so that I can grab this guy. 1 second here. So this is the biggest successful print that I made myself right here on the printer. The smaller things have been more successful with. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's been a crazy 24 hours here. I'm kind of working on about 2.5 hours sleep, maybe 3 tops. So if I seem spacey, that might answer the question. Or at least I kind of hope it does. But I haven't really done any Hero Forge stuff. I think we tried painting one of theirs a while back. It was a kind of a commission request, and it was kind of a nasty material, and there was lots of weird printing things with it and stuff, and probably some digital sculpting issues as well. Now that was a few years ago, so maybe that has changed a little bit. That is very possible. Oh, it's well, there's usually not much sleep here at all, but just there was craziness with the weather last night, and I think it was after 8 o'clock in the morning when I finally tried to get some sleep. Yeah, we'll get some of our, and we'll do this right into here. So now there's really no difference. You can't really tell that is a 3D printed bit there, and then this is all of our tree bark right here. So I'm going to put some of this stuff to the side here, and I'm going to think about some leaf piles here while I can. Where's my leaves? My leaves go. And while I still have some of this, I'm going to try and see if I can't have some leaf piles here. All right. Now I could, a couple of ways I can do this. I can maybe do a little bit of this as for some capillary action here on my leaves, and I think we'll do that. Oh, let's see. I just subscribed to the YouTube channel. Oh yeah, Lord Cat. There's hundreds of them on there, and there's actually I'll show you some of the Marvel Crisis Protocol because that's also got object source lighting. I'm just gonna try and sneak some more glue down in here. Get my leaves to stick in there. That's the thing about the Luke's APS glue is that it gets tacky really fast. I mean, really fast. Oh, let's see. I was just wondering because I'm thinking about making a mini and maybe building the or having the courage to paint it myself, but probably get it professionally done. Yeah, like I said, I only ever painted one or two of those, and I just had no idea what they were because we didn't have any real experience with the 3D printed or the 3D or the digital sculpting, 3D printing, all that kind of stuff. And there was some really weird aspects about it. But that was a few years ago, so maybe things are different now. But actually, I hope you have some fun trying to paint that up, especially since it is, well, I mean, it's of you, and that's kind of the whole purpose of them. Thank you so much, Felonius. I appreciate that. Here, let's get a little bit of that into this cup because we could use about, a lot of this. And thanks again. I appreciate that. Yeah, these, I guess because I have to just kind of paint so many sort of human type skin tones, it's really fun to get to do something maybe a little bit different. Or a lot of fun, actually, to get to do something a little different. So you can see what I'm trying to do here. Trying to get some of these leaves underneath there. So here, actually, I think, no, this, I don't think, I think all of this is as Patreon videos here, but it's very much the same thing that we did right here. Now this one we obviously added water over the top, but you can see all the leaves underneath the water. You can see the leaves added back here. Obviously this has more of a greenish type of a approach to it since this is Galadriel on horseback. But thanks again, Felonius. I appreciate that. Now, I don't want to go too crazy with the leaves. Not so many down here because, well, remember that this is kind of our leaf source, is these guys. And now we've got some of the dirt down here already, so as I go to put some leaves into this, and I don't mind if some of the dirt gets on the leaves because, well, I mean, that's certainly that's why we have no leaves to collect around here because they're all covered in dirt and mud and rain and water. Oh, let's see. Mostly the same as others, but you have to make sure you don't use something that can dissolve the plastics. Yeah, now a lot of the 3D printed stuff that I just use the Badger Stynylrez primer. It covers anything I've done so far with my own 3D printing or with somebody else's. I just Asgard Rising, I had to prime a bunch of their figures, and I just brushed on the Stynylrez primer, and it did just fine. So just a couple of leaves over here. Just having some fun. Putting leaves here and there. There's a couple Get those. And I got all these different colors, right? So lots of different colors. But it adds color, texture, all kinds of great stuff. All right, let's get some of our leaves over here too. Now, in the case where I want to have just heavier piles, I'll just grab a whole bunch of these and sort of let the capillary action of the glue do its work. And the warmer color of the leaves, well, it starts to tie into some of the colors here on the figure, and it contrasts with the base, but it's also tying in with some of our foliage that we did. Oh, let's see. Jara's put oil paint straight on the resin and have had zero issues. I've kind of found, because there's been places where I'm just working on it's one of my figures or whatever, and I'm painting with the oils, and I go, oh, geez, missed a spot with the primer there, and just said the heck with it, painted with the oils over it, and the oils really sticks to it. Well, it kind of makes sense because, well, that's why oil paints were used as house paint for how long? How many? Many, many, many years, because it just sticks better to kind of everything. Lord Kane, this is not aerosol primer, just an acrylic primer right here. I use this for absolutely everything: metal, plastic, resin. Well, that's what I primed all the tree bark with and everything else. So yeah, there's no aerosol stuff or anything like that in the Stino Res. It is also 1,000 times cheaper and more efficient to just use the Stino Res, because that little bottle that I showed you, that thing, you could probably get 5 bottles like that for 1 can of spray primer, and well, the you could probably prime 5 times as many miniatures with that one bottle. So it costs a fraction of the amount, and it lasts a whole lot longer. I'm gonna, boy, as much as here, I'm just gonna throw a little bit more of my glue here, and then right away try and get some leaves in there, if I can. Ah, there we go. See a nice little leaf pile there. Makes a contrast with the edge of that tree bark. But just like with oil painting or, well, any miniature painting, sometimes it's got to be messy before it can be neat. In fact, that's almost pretty much universal. It almost always has to be messy before it can be neat. I know that can be rough. That can be rough for some folks who like to see a very neat progress through everything. Yeah, that's not quite how things work here. Let's see. I tested on the bottom of a miniature and then tried to rub it off. Yes, I've tried to wash it off my hands. I can't even get the stuff off my hand for days. It's sticking to my hands, and I'm really scrubbing away at it with soap and dish, like a dish soap that we use to clean off, well, resin or whatever, clean mold release off. Can't get rid of that darn primer. Really like what's happening over there. Okay, I'd like to get.
You little hobbits, spark my ganja.
Oh, thanks, Joe's Life, for the follow. I appreciate that. I really do. Ooh, you know what? See what's got it has to kind of go up against that edge, because that's sort of, well. Let's just say we've seen a lot of wind moved leaves, and they would be moved up against an edge like this, because that's kind of what's happened here. Is everything has piles of leaves shoved up against it. I might just sneak a couple more out here. And I'm going to try and choose these. carefully here as far as their color and shape. All right, now I'm just going to do a quick little test right here of my viney stuff. You know what? I'm actually going to use this to maybe get some more gluing on my viney stuff. But let's just see. Well, it kind of does stick there. It would be nice if I could use this, although I think I might have to use a thicker version of it. Well, it does stick there. So, see what we just did? Yeah, I'm going to use the sand and gravel glue for that. So we're going to switch glue here. I'm going to take this out of the way. I'm going to need another container now. And I think we'll just chuck this in here. Again, this is from MIG Ammo right here. Oh, it's been a while since I opened this. Because I know this has a tendency to just stick right away. Now, I don't need a whole bunch of it. Even that is probably too much. That was probably too much right there. Now, let me see if I can just get me one of my smaller brushes here. I think this will work. At least I hope it does. Now, it's going to be glossy at the start, but it does dry matte. And I know I've done this several times. And I don't know if they're just like Patreon videos. I think they might be. There might be one or two YouTube videos where I've done this too. Sometimes, as you're putting the leaves on there, they just want to fall off. It's the nature of things. Ah, there we go. See a nice little leaf right there. I'm going to see if I can get a couple attached. Not so much to the tree itself. There we go. That's it. Sometimes you just gotta kind of push these guys around. And they're just kind of building up some glue there on the end. And sometimes you just gotta let that leaf kind of come off by itself. There. Look at that. I'm gonna move these leaves here. I think now you can actually see. Maybe I'll try and zoom in here. Let me just zoom in. I know this is going to look really kind of just weird. Here, let me also get my scissors out of the way. And I hope this is not too boring here for a while, but I'm just going to add my leaves. Because as we were talking about Instagram and all that good stuff, well, this has to be done so that I can post something to... look at that. Look at that leaf right on the end there. Look at this. That's very fun. And this is the sand and gravel glue here from MIG Ammo. Okay, I got a couple of leaves ready to there's one. And sometimes they just don't stick. Sometimes they stick exactly where you want them to the very first time. And then there's other times where you're, using colorful metaphors and cursing the ancestry of whoever it was that invented leaves in the first place. I have done that many, many times. Not so much while I'm filming. Like here, I got two leaves stuck together. I'm not even going to try and separate those guys. That's a bit of a lost cause. Now the other thing I have to realize is that all of these leaves in here, wherever there's glue, they'll stick to that little tray right there. So see, that just kind of was flung right off that vine. I'm just going to keep piling glue onto that, and the more glue that's kind of piled on there, the better chance I have for, well, one of these things to stick instead of just shooting off like that one just did. Sometimes the best I can do is just kind of almost like pile them on there like this, and then hopefully, see, I just gave it a little touch of the, this has surprising capillary action of its own. So a couple more leaves there. Looks very viney now. Now I'm really glad, because to me it's really neat to see this process play out. I absolutely love doing this kind of stuff. I guess I don't get to do it very often. If it's a regular miniature, well, this would be, well, you can't really have the tall trees on it because, well, that would kind of get in the way of gameplay. Ooh, nice little leaf on the end there. And I'm just gonna use a couple of leaves in there. There was some weird stuff going on with the glue right there, so I said the heck with it. I just put a big old batch of leaves on it, covered up. All gone. I'm really glad that I went with this, what would you say, kind of almost dead forest type of a look here, or, well, I guess fall look, I suppose, would be one way to describe it. Because as I was turning this around, I said, if I put too much foliage here, well, you're not going to see the tattoos. All of this stuff that I spent a lot of time painting, I'm just going to end up covering that up, and that doesn't really seem to be a great idea. Like I said, there's going to be some frustration, and the leaves will just kind of fly off sometimes. Sometimes they're just going to stick to the brush or whatever, and not to the area you want them to. Let's see if I can get one right onto here. And of course, some of the leaves now, they are starting to get glued to my little black thing here, my little just a lid of a Tupperware container. Oh, I'd love to get a leaf right on the end of this. So I'm really going to pile up the glue there. I'm going to find me a leaf. Am I going to get lucky with that? Sort of. It's not quite the direction that I want. Aha, boom, there it is. Got that leaf just where I wanted it there. Let me see. No, Lord King, they mostly end up in cabinets, or in the case of me, they actually just end up gathering a whole bunch of dust on some shelves that are right next to me, because I need to, as kind of a like a teaching element, I need to have those right next to me at all times. So a lot of times they just end up on shelves right next to me. Now, the miniatures that I have, say, in a lot of my armies, like my Rohan, they are typically magnetized. So let me see if I can show you something here that's got a magnet on the bottom. So refrigerator magnet on the bottom. It'll go in a stack of plastic cases, and actually our moderator can furnish you the link to that. And it's kind of a nice way to keep them dust free, and it's a nice way to transport them too. But to be able to kind of grab a figure at a moment's notice to show somebody a technique or whatever. I'll catch you later, Jerry. Let's see. A stronger person I am exhausted. Yeah, thanks, Jera, for joining. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to see if I can grab me a leaf here. Well, that one's not cooperating. This one did. Aha, boom, right there. Yeah, I think you can see that one too. Let me see. Okay, I wasn't sure if you did these as commissions. Well, actually, Lord Kenny, the vast majority of what I do, unfortunately, it's commission stuff, so it goes away. I never see it again. Uh, but I'll show you some of my armies here. Actually, I'm just gonna take a little second here, and you can see some of the armies that we have done. Now, so I think, well, this is my old Sisters of Battle here. And actually, I still have this. I still have that cathedral. That was mine. The army was sold off, but I still have the cathedral. My bolt action armies. I still have all of my bolt action armies. This was actually my last tournament army, and I've got actually plenty of tutorials and battle reports on the YouTube channel because otherwise we can't have our lovely battle reports. I'm going to be making battle reports with my Lord of the Rings stuff. I also have been painting Cruel Seas fleets. Now the Dark Sword stuff, these are for the Patreon page. These all go away because people have they support pledge level where they actually get the figure as well. Here's some terrain. This is for my Lord of the Rings campaigns that I'm going to be doing. And then let's get into some of our more of our Lord of the Rings stuff here. So there's my Harad army. And I'm going to be doing some Mahood riders, and on those same bases, that was a blast. And obviously we've got our Rohan army. And my new Dol Amroth army that I was really delirious to get started with. Uh-oh. Here, let's go back to our regular thing here because, hey, Steep T, how are you doing? Here, let's back out a little bit so people can see what's going on. And sorry you didn't get to have the sound because we were off doing our little look-see at stuff. So how are you doing, Steep T? And folks, if you want to see more oil painting, Steep T has been painting a whole bunch of Kingdom Death stuff in oils. I hope everything is going well. Speaking of oils, this was painted in oils earlier this month. And what we're doing now is we've been getting some foliage on here. We've been adding ground cover. We've been using our leaf cutters here to cut a whole bunch of little leaves like this. We have been using some tall foliage. And you see our little vinies things right here on the tree that we're starting to get some leaves on. So Steep T, I hope everything went well today. I know you had lots of long stream yesterday too. There. We're just using some of our MIG ammo glue here, just trying to get some leaves attached to my little vines and trees. It could be interesting. There we go. See, we got a leaf to stick right there. Oh, the ad thing. Yep. Yeah, I guess, well, we really don't have any control over those, do we? Now I'm going to just throw me a bunch of leaves over here and cover up this glue that we got happening here. We'll just have a nice big old batch of leaves. Whoop, that's not really much of a leaf there. Gonna get some more of my glue. And then some more of my leaves. Get all this covered up. All this nasty stuff here that happened with the glue. And that was just to get those pesky vines to stick to the tree. There's a, whoop, almost had that leaf on that branch. It can be comical sometimes. Well, frustratingly comical, I suppose. And if they fall to the ground, it doesn't really matter. It's this is kind of a little bit of a different time. Well, it was the start time was different. Usually I start a little bit earlier, say on a Thursday here, but just because of various circumstances, we're kind of doing a bit of a later start than normal. But see, I can see through all of this foliage, and I can actually see the figure. That's something I was worried about when I was going to go with all of the more alive jungle foliage type stuff, because the original thing I was going to do was definitely something more like this with all the vellum plants and a lot of greenery. And I thought, no, we've already done that. Let's show people something that's got a little bit more of a fall type of a texture here. Now, did you finish off that lion there, the Kingdom Death lion? I know you were trying to get that done last night in your stream, and you said, well, if we don't get it done tonight, we'll for sure get it done in the next one. So I figured that's you might have been working on that to get that one done. Hey, Crotchety the Clown, how are you doing? I'm just having some fun here. Getting some leaves on the trees. Well, leaves on the vines, like that one right there. Uh, Unfortunately, a lot of them are going to end up getting glued to my little Tupperware top thing here, but that's okay. There we go. There's a leaf. A leaf just stuck right there. Yeah, that's I finished him up today. Super happy with the outcome. And if you've already done the Instagram, well, I'm guessing you haven't done the Instagram photos of him, but if you got the Instagram photos of him, you can feel free to shoot them over there into the chat, of course, as always. I'm going to grab me a couple of more leaves here. There we go. That's better. Sometimes you never really know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's a total pain. Yeah, the lion was really looking fabulous. Another leaf right here. Sometimes when you move, see, I needed to get it in a certain position. Sometimes you get lucky. What I'm using right now, this is sand and gravel glue from Artisan Guild. Now, I have a tendency also to use it on vehicles here. So obviously on the back deck and other places here, like here we have the pioneering toolboxes and such. I would use that glue here and also stick some of the leaves in there because, well, vehicles, an average car collects a whole bunch of leaves just sitting out there on the street. Yeah, I was sent some of that when MIG sent me a whole bunch of their stuff. They sent the oil brushers and some other things. I really, really liked that particular product. That was some sensational stuff. There we go. Got that leaf to stick there finally. Actually, there's a nice little leaf. I'm hoping it's going to stay right here. It did. There we go. I wish I had known about this step a long, long time. Now, they maybe didn't make it a long time ago, but it just does some fabulous things. I've used this many times before for doing leaves and attaching them to delicate things like this. Because while it looks all shiny right now, it doesn't dry shiny. What the heck? I'm going to throw a couple of leaves over here too. I can just get that to stick there. There we go. It can be a little bit clumsy sometimes. And we'll get to some oils as well. There's at least one of those Merman Banshee, whatever. They're just the Age of Sigmar Banshees. I guess was it the Night Haunts army, right? Has the Banshees. That kind of sounds like a condition actually, rather than an actual unit type right now. If you have a weak case of the Banshees or something like that, I think that's what I might say the next time I have a big batch of chocolate-covered raisins as we welcome in Pascal. Pascal, so folks, be sure you really want to follow Pascal because, boy, talk about some fantastic large-scale stuff, busts, all kinds of fantastic things. You will see some amazing stuff on his channel. So, actually, are you going to be streaming in, I don't know, 3-4 hours or so? Because I know, remember the one time I tried to raid you, but you actually weren't on? And I forget why that worked out that way, why I saw you as being on, but you weren't. Actually, you're in the chat, and you went, wait a minute, why are you raiding me? I'm in the chat. Ah, there's a nice, oh, look at that leaf. See that sitting right there? Can I get that thing to stick here? Well, looks like it's going to stick there. We'll try this again with another leaf. It's the same type of leaf. Well, we have it stuck there, but not the way we want it to be. Ah ha ha. There we go. Yes. Exactly where I was hoping that would end up. Now, okay. Now, actually, if you want to post any of your latest wondrous things, Instagram-wise, into the chat, feel free to do so. Come on, you leaf. Now, the last one was really easy. This one is being a bit more of a challenge. I'm trying to get it to actually point a certain way. And unless it points that way, it doesn't do me much good. There we go. I think that just about does that. Do I want it? I'm going to get some more over here too. Actually, I want some glue on this vine as well, not just on the leaves, but on the vine itself. I might even use a couple of leaves here to help attach the vine to that tree. Now, there we go. Hey, Thaler, how are you doing? We're just we're just doing some crazy things here. Just trying to get some leaves attached to some trees. Well, to some vines, really, I guess is more accurate. It's a little challenging to get that on camera, but I think it's possible to see it. But we've glued an awful lot of these leaves to this container lid here. Was not the intention, but that can definitely happen. And again, using the Green Stuff World leaf cutters. The vine itself, I'm fairly certain this is from Army Painter. It's been a long time since I last got things from the Army Painter site, so... Okay, there's a small little leaf that I'm trying to just get... Ah! There it is. You stay there. Aha! Boom! Haha! Look at that, right there on the end of that. Working on some trees, 2 sets of the GW Sylvaneth trees. Oh my goodness! Oh, is that the new set? Because believe it or not, I have 2 boxes of that stuff that I have got to put together and paint. Speaking of commission things, actually I've got the herd stone to do, so that is another thing you might be seeing here on the Twitch channel, in addition to, well, all the other things that have to be done. So this is looking nice. When I first stuck that on there, I'm sure it just like, well, okay, what's that twiggy stuff going to do there? It doesn't look like it's really doing much of anything. But I think now that we've got these leaves on here, it's all starting to, well, hopefully make some sense. I think it was tree month. I started, oh my goodness, yes. Now I'm trying to think, what else have we been doing with the, let's see, the wild elf, that was last month. That was a whole bunch of trees. Actually, so was, I think, maybe, oh no, wait. I did two giant tree men. Yeah, one of them, oh, they were Patreon videos. That's why I thought I painted them on stream. And of course, they're in the other room. And I haven't made any screens of them to show people. Let's see if I, that's stuck to the brush a little too well. That's a really nice leaf there. Can I get it to stick to the, oh, it's on that vine. Will it stay there? Aha, there we go. It's stuck. Yeah, I don't get to do the diorama stuff as often as I'd like to. Back in 2004, we call that the year of dioramas. Literally, Kathy and I, we were each well, I was turning out a diorama every week, and Kathy was doing at least one diorama a month, I think, maybe one every month, month and a half. And that was a lot of fun. I'm hoping to maybe do that again. Maybe stream some more diorama type things. Oh, like we did with that dark sword figure. That was very fun. Okay, we've got that vine here. That's getting in the way of me picking up leaves. Speaking of vines, we got to get this leaf right on the end of this vine. I know it probably doesn't even show up on camera, but there is a vine there. And I'm just, oh, yes. I got that leaf position because these leaf cutter things, you can see there's an origin point right there. It's not just like a generic little leaf. You can see there's an end right there where your leaf should attach to things. I'm still looking around here for ends of branches that, well, or ends of vines that have no leaves on them whatsoever. And some of these leaves are ones that I essentially kind of cut fresh myself not too long ago. And actually, we'll do that again just to kind of show you what the leaves are like to cut. Ah, look at this. This is just a blast. Absolutely love this. And I like the way we can still see that figure. It's not entirely, we haven't buried the figure in just a bunch of leaves. But still enough action to show our leaves. Ah, there's another end of a branch right here. Looking around for a leaf. Oh, there's one. And it's really weird. You kind of have to place that and then sort of drag it around. And it takes a few attempts. And there it is. That's where I was hoping it was going to go. I know it just looks like a tangle right now. Now, there's the photos. There's the photos. So, oh yeah, and Steve, as far as the thumbnails go, I have, well, it's the same template I use for the YouTube videos and such, but it's the text and stuff is customized to the certain miniature company, and basically I can put the pictures in there, and I make all of those just by hand for whatever the stream title should be, or in the case of when we're painting, say something that is Age of Sigmar or whatever, I try to have the appropriate logos on there so that it is easy for people to kind of recognize it right away. There's another area here. There's a couple places I think I can sneak some more leaves into. Now, obviously, whatever brush you're doing this to is going to be filled with glue. This is essentially pretty much a destroyed brush anyway. But believe it or not, the same stuff that we use for our oils, the same stuff we use for acrylic, this will also get the glue out of there here. And this is fantastic because it is not toxic, it has no vapor, it's not flammable, none of those things. So it's my wife uses it for her acrylics. Every day she cleans her brushes with that stuff, and I use that stuff every day to clean my oil brushes. And it works equally well for both things. Oh, no problem. Yeah, I know we'll have to do a brainstorming thing or whatever, but those tags and keywords are very, I mean, they are crucial. I think I probably listened to at least 100 hours worth of different kind, I don't know if you want to call them YouTube training videos, but all about algorithms and all that sort of crazy stuff that's unique to YouTube. And then I sort of took it over here to Twitch. Now I don't need a mass of leaves. I need well, there's a mass of leaves. So they're going to go somewhere. I'm not going to keep screwing around trying to dangle one leaf off of it. I'm just going to put a nice little pile of leaves right over there. Say the heck with it. There's the link to the brush cleaner and restorer. It really is fantastic stuff. Time for a couple of more leaves here, I think, maybe to finish off this area. And these are the ones that just kind of flew around as we were clipping them and cutting them. This is sort of the, I guess, more targeted way of doing this than, say, the Luke's APS, where you kind of more just scattered the leaves on there. Now, I'll catch you later, the Steep Tea. Thanks for the raid and all that. Lady B, how are you doing? Like Steela says, if a leaf goes somewhere, it must go everywhere. So Lady B, we have been doing, actually the last hour and a half, we have been doing all the basing here. I was tempted to put a leaf on top. No, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that. I'm going to let that leaf get thrown right down there, though. Ooh, you know what? I think we could use a couple of leaves over here. No, I don't want you sticking to this. This stuff it's a surprisingly strong. You would not believe just how strong this stuff is. There we go. A couple of leaves right there around her foot there. That's nice. Breaks up that space. Oh, there are many chapters in the Book of Wappel about basing, especially the nothing replicates nature better than nature, which is why we're working with actual leaves here. Actual leaves that we cut, and here we'll just let that sit there for just a second, and we'll cut a few more leaves. This is my favorite one here. I could actually use a few more leaves, so it's better if you do this sooner rather than later. For me, I don't really have that option because if I want to show people stuff like this, I need to have leaves around. So some of them are years old. So you can see it just does a fantastic job. It's from Green Stuff World, and there are many, many different types. And there's more than this. This is just some of them. There are more than these too. I'm just going to get some of that chunked into here. All right, now you can see that gets all kind of gummy there in that brush, and I'm going to use a little bit of my cleaner here, and we'll see just how much of it gets out of that brush. Yeah, that really, wow. Yeah, all of the glue is out of that brush in a heartbeat. Fowler, if they're like this, they'll get brittle. They don't disintegrate because, again, I think I've got some leaves. Yeah, I've got leaves on these guys. I've been doing it for several years now, and they're basically exactly like when I first put them on there. Because you also have to figure that the glue is almost acting like a sealer on them because they're pretty much entirely covered in glue. To be able to do this, these leaves are almost entirely covered in glue. No, that's not going to stick there. I might just throw it right here. There we go. So you see there's that leaf has glue. It is totally covered in glue right now. You know, I might just throw one leaf right in here. If I can get a nice one that, this is the one I'm looking for right here. There. Kind of, it separates the foot a little bit from that rock. But it didn't, and each one of these leaves was placed individually. But did it really take all that long for as much effort as sometimes it takes to get a leaf to stick there? I think that's well worth the effort. That is definitely worth the effort there. I will, with the last of my glue here, just throw a couple of more leaves onto this tree. Well, vine, I should say, not necessarily the tree, the vine that is on the tree. Ooh, there's another. I can throw another leaf over here on the end of this one. Got myself a leaf. And sometimes they just go on there real easy like that. Sometimes not so much. No, I think the end of that one just doesn't really need a leaf. I'm going to see if I can get one on the other side of this little clump right here. So leaf right there, you see it on the brush. And it's got a very much an identifiable place where it's, and there we go, look at that. See that? It had to be placed in that direction because otherwise, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of glue onto that. But now it makes sense where it is on that branch or vine or whatever you want to call it. Another leaf right here that I'd like to get on the end of this guy. Actually, this is one of those things where you kind of get a feel for it. Of course, now I have the feel for it after putting tons of these on there. It's been a while since I've done this. I think that's another reason I wanted to try and do this, is just to get reacquainted with it again. Because it's sort of an acquired, I don't want to say an acquired skill, but it's, you can lose the touch. If you don't do this all the time, you can really lose the touch. All right, we got, okay, good. There's a leaf stuck to the end of that one. I'm just going to keep rotating this around, seeing if there's any other good places for leaves. Wow, I don't know. Hey, Armored Wolf, do you remember the days when stuff like this, basically people were trying to use brass etched foliage to do this kind of stuff? Because I remember those days. And that stuff, that was like the height of genius. And then you look at it today and it would look so artificial today. Interesting the difference that a few years and some new technology can make. You know, I think I'd like to get a couple of more leaves over here. Like this. And another one here. Aha. Yeah, nice little pile of leaves right there. Yeah, and then there was that, well, then the paper foliage, which just was super, super, super expensive, and it was fragile and brittle, and it just broke, and that just led to nothing but disappointment, at least for me. But that brass etched foliage, oh my, it almost seems comical now to think about it. That we were trying to think that metal leaves were in some way realistic when you'd have like two leaves on a tree. And certainly no ground cover or oregano. Yes. Hey Jackson, how are you doing? All that brass stuff was great and horrible all in one. Yeah, it was, I guess you could say it was sort of durable. That might be the best thing you could possibly say about it. But yeah, as far as realism goes, realism is a little bit rough. Now what's happening here is I'm going to try and actually glue one vine to another vine because that vine's glued to the tree. And I'm just going to try and find some mutual support here for this. There we go. I'm going to try and do the same thing over here. Basically kind of gluing those two vines together. Now they dried bodkins. Yeah, I think here it was always the oregano leaves. Which, and Kathy's sensitive nose, she can just smell the oregano. Now I'm going to back out here so we can get just a sense of what she's looking like here. Yeah, we can definitely, even from all angles, we're not going to lose the tattoos or anything like that. But it does make a nice, we always talk about foreground, middle ground, background. She's the middle ground. This is the foreground. All this stuff here in the background. Actually, Jackson, it's surprisingly not fragile. That this sand and gravel glue, because you have to think, I'm using it to attach, if I'm going to do a chia tank, right, say like a Stug or maybe even a Hetzer or whatever, that's exactly, I'm going to just take that same kind of material and I'm just going to glue the leaves on. It is surprisingly strong. And these vines right here, this is me pulling on it really hard, and as you can see, they're not breaking. So all of this stuff is deceptively strong. I mean, look at this. That's not breaking. Now it did. I was really yanking on that thing trying to break it. So it's actually quite strong. And these twigs right here are actually pinned into the base. Everything is anchored there. And this green stuff world foliage is also really strong. I mean, you can see how hard it is to rip this foliage out of this bundle right here. So it's all really nice and strong. And that's the fun thing, is that you can make stuff that looks dainty. This is the difference between that brass etch stuff we were talking about and this, where it has that natural look, but it's still strong. I mean, yeah, it's flexible. Like, that leaf is going to bounce around. Oh, thanks, Jackson. Now we've been at this about an hour and 44 minutes. We started with, again, some of this material here. This is from Luke's APS. We also put our vine on those two trees right there. We punched out our leaves, got them into here. Then we threw some grass tufts in there. We put the tall foliage in a couple places. Again, the idea is, see how that her obsidian axe with that yellow behind it really makes all the cool colors stand out. And then this right here behind her leg, that's a cooler color green right there. All of that orange and amber. So composition is not just the figure. If you're going to do a little vignette like this, composition matters everywhere. If composition goes somewhere, it's got to go everywhere. And that even the leaves here, you can see some of those same colors are on the skin tone. They're even right here over her eye. Literally the same color as some of these leaves. So we're kind of carrying all of that all throughout the entire little our mini diorama here.